We are on Foreign Fusion today, and we will be talking about a young man who has invested, I would say, a lot of money in sheep farming, in Ghana. And currently, the business is at risk. So that's what we'll be talking about today.
Yes, welcome. Esperanza on sabbatical with the lovely Mercy, as always, And I'm glad that we're talking about this because, we found ourselves in him
Yeah,
some way, somehow.
absolutely.
But I think, yeah, so I didn't really get the story too well. So what really happened? I know you
So,
spoke, but yeah, I
yeah,
think yeah,
apparently he's been asked to move his farm of
yeah,
almost 5 years
yeah.
with approximately an investment of a million Ghana cedis,
Wow.
and
Mm,
he's been operating there for almost 5 years. Nothing has happened. No one has actually
mm,
complained. But
yeah,
all of a sudden, he was called by the chiefs and the community
yeah.
that he has to move his farm
Just like
from
that.
the community. And this is actually in Snasi in the Brong-Ahafo region in Ghana.
Mm.
Yes, yes.
But how do you let somebody invest into a business and then run it for a couple of years, and then you reach 5 years,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you just tell him you need to pack up and then you have to leave? What are you expecting? Do you want him to like go somewhere? Do you want him
Yeah.
to like close? What were the expectations behind such decisions? But it's very alarming, for me, Mercy, because what I'm seeing in the man, I'm seeing African entrepreneurship. It seemed to always being sabotaged somewhere, somehow along the lines, and it's very sad because he's put on not only time and resources, but he's put on sweat and tears into this endeavor, and it reaches such level of success,
Yeah.
and then you just tell him one day that you've gotta go. Where is he supposed to go?
What does he do in
What
this
does he do?
situation?
Yeah.
It's been so much investment. And, I see myself, and the reason why I wanted us to talk about this is because I have actually had a similar experience.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Being an entrepreneur myself,
Yeah.
it's devastating.
It is.
It's
It is.
devastating. That was one of the worst situations I found myself in 2023.
Yeah.
And
Last year.
hopefully, yeah, just last year.
Just few days
Yeah.
ago.
Few,
Like
so you can say
before the
that.
firecrackers. Like
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's devastating,
It
and
is. It is.
I know exactly how this young man is feeling,
But in your
because,
case, what happened though? What really happened?
yeah. So basically, I have been a victim of propaganda. And when I say propaganda, it means it's just one community member, who used to be friends with my family. And when we don't get our way, we don't get the things that we want from other people, we tend to hate on them, on the things that they do, their
Yeah. Yeah.
businesses, and just to try to, bring them to our level. And I
Yeah.
feel like in
So you
this
don't want
case,
them to. They
no,
don't want
no,
you to take off, which is
no.
a typical African
You
mentality.
can
I
say
would
that,
say. Yeah.
you can say that. And I think we've been calling on our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, to come and invest in Africa. And most people come here to invest. And here is, in someone's case, you said, pack up your things and leave.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
I've had this property for years.
Yes,
way
the
before
property.
some of
Yes, I remember the
way
property.
before some of these community members even moved to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So after COVID, I had a business somewhere else, and I had to move the business to where the property was,
Yeah.
because there is no use renting a space
Yeah.
to
When
do
you
a
have
business
space of
someone
your
else.
own.
Exactly, somewhere else, when you have your own property somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I decided to use the property for the business. I got it registered in South Africa, got all the necessary documentations, licensing, and
Yeah.
everything
All
else
the
to be able,
bureaucratic.
exactly, to be able to run the business. But unfortunately, the people of South Africa, not the whole of South Africa, some of the people of South Africa, my neighbors, thought, yes, I will.
Okay.
You know, I'm here to be honest about the situation,
Okay.
and
But it's not a South African in
it's
general.
not
it's
it's
just
not the whole
it's
of
a
South.
community.
Yes, it's a
the community in
community
which
thing.
you were.
Exactly, the
Yeah.
community in which the business is
Was
operating.
running. Yeah.
You know, and before then, most of the people
Hmm.
supported the business,
Yeah.
utilized our service.
It was a
Even.
very fancy. I think it was a fancy business. It
Ex-
brought value to the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Isn't it? 'Cause
Unfortunately, they didn't see that.
if I was member of the community, I would say, okay, no, we have like a
A
4-star
spa, a guest
service
house, exactly.
in the neighborhood.
Ah.
I think this is adding value to our properties. I think I would have looked at it that way, but
Yeah,
I'm shocked that they maybe didn't see it like that.
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah.
think, do you think it was jealousy or?
I believe so. I believe so, and not from the whole community, but from a particular group of people who had the influence to get almost 80% of the neighborhood on board.
Yes.
And the fact that I'm also not from South Africa and from a different African country made it worse, you know, because how
So
dare you?
Did you think that it had to do with you not being South African in a sense as well?
Partly, absolutely. The
Okay.
reason why I'm saying that is because of the kind of things some of them said to me, you know, about me not being from here. How dare you think you can come from somewhere else to succeed here or open up a business here? You know, those were some of the things that some of these people said to me. Yes, yes. So initially, I didn't think it had anything to do with where I'm from or
Yeah.
anything like that. You will not believe that the person that started this whole issue was someone who has sat on my chair.
It's usually the case.
Yes, that has
Usually the case. They eat at your table.
Yeah.
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 And later on they
We've
just,
spoken, had discussion, actually been a part of some of the improvements that were done to the building, you know, prior to the business opening.
Yeah.
So,
And it's the very same person that comes and says, we're going to take her down.
yeah,
Wow.
how dare you think you can come here and succeed? But sometimes what people do not realize is that when they try to, God may be using them, you know, to move me from somewhere to a higher.
Yeah. Could be. Yeah.
Yes.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could
So
be,
instead of having that affect me, I thought to myself, okay, maybe this is God telling me that there is something better for you.
Somewhere else.
You know, there's because I absolutely believe in the fact that if one door closes,
10 others
there is a
open.
bigger one
Yeah.
about to open.
Yeah.
So I embrace that.
Yeah.
I embrace that.
But you know, for me, I'm looking at it from an African perspective.
Yeah.
To say, you see what happens to you, what happened to you there, and
Yeah.
what is happening to, what's the name of the man again? The man in Ghana.
Yeah, from the Snazzy
From
in
the Snazzy, yes.
Onahafo. Yeah.
It saddens me because you know what? The cost of doing business in Africa is just astronomically high.
Yeah.
You know, and usually it comes in terms of the adversity you have to face rather than the business itself. You know? Because
Absolutely.
look at it, I think your business was running, it was doing very well.
Yeah.
It was brought to its knees by just, you know, community members that were not happy to see a business thriving in the
Yeah.
community. But I will say this mentality is not just limited to a certain region in Africa. It's a whole global Africa. I know a story. Living the man from the goat. He's a goat, you know, greatest of all time himself.
Yeah.
Congratulations
won't
on
believe
flying.
that.
Yes, I know. I think I saw the link. I saw the footage. I think you sent it to me.
Yeah.
And he did very well.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is almost on an industrial scale. He did exceedingly well for such a young age.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's gonna help the community, or he has actually done something to help the community in some way or the other.
Even if it doesn't help, by just the mere fact that such an achievement is
Has
within
been brought to the community.
It
Should be
says quite a lot.
celebrated.
Yes, it should be celebrated, but it's the very same community
Yeah.
that is saying you need to pack up and leave. One thing I've realized, Mercy, I would say is, you know what, Africa does not, Africans, we Africans, we don't see all too well
Yeah.
in the success of others
Okay.
or other African. I'll give you a story. There is this man here, you know, where I lived, you know, where I moved in. So prior to me moving in there, because it's like it's a it's a big estate, you know, it's a big estate. It has, you've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this man worked on the property, right? He worked on the property. He was like a gardener or caretaker or stuff like
Caretaker.
that. So now, you know, him seeing, he's black, he's African himself, the old man, like he's worked for the late owner for years, like
Okay.
for
How
like
many years?
over 45 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a typical institutionalization of house Negroes. That's what he was. So he's worked for that long, and then he's used to seeing the owner, you know, and in his mind, impressed in his mind is like, you know, a Westerner can live here, but not a black man, and him seeing that, you know, it's a black man who's now here, who's now
He's living in this estate.
he's living in this estate. It's kind of like made him extremely, I won't even say jealous.
Angry.
Exactly, you know, as if like I'm not supposed to be here. Like this is not a
You're
place
not
for
worth
me.
being there.
I'm not worth being here. Like, you know, these kind of properties are not for people like
Like
me.
us. Oh my word.
Yes, you know, I picked it up, and the funny thing is, you know, it was one of the neighbors, you know, the neighbors that I had gotten to know,
Yeah.
an old lady also, she's Welsh, I think, who told me that this is what this man
This man said.
said. And this is a black man, an older black man, angry of the success of a
another
younger
black man.
black man. So it's a mentality that, you know, we can't have you succeed. We can't have you
No.
enjoy things. It's a bit like your success is my failure, you know, and this is something that it's a sad to say. I'm really sad to say, but it's something that is only observed on the African continent. And you know, I sat and I was like, okay, you know what? I feel bad for him because
Yeah.
I mean, throughout all his lives, he never lived, you know, with a vision.
Maybe the life that he wanted to live.
Exactly. So I think it was a bit of that.
But that's not your fault. That
It's
shouldn't
not.
be blamed on you.
It's not.
Do you get what I'm saying?
It's not my fault, but that's how
He feels.
that's how he feels, and that's how people feel when they see you succeed around them, and
Yeah.
then they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, they feel like that. Leaving my story behind anyway, I know his story again, and this was actually very disheartening. It happened because I'm from the Congo, so I lived in Kinshasa for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then in an area where I was living in Kinshasa, it was an upmarket place, but after the war, you know, values of areas and properties kind of like
Went down.
we went down.
Yeah.
Now this man here was living in Paris. He went
Yeah.
to Paris in the 80s, where he slaved himself up, working in hotels and stuff. And then, but he had a vision. The man had a vision. He was saving and working in Europe the whole time, and then even educated himself in
Yeah.
hospitality and stuff like that. Then after the war, he came back home. You know, like after all these years, he saved enough, and then he made sure he bought everything that was needed. He said, "I need to go back to my country.
Yeah.
I need to make something happen." Then what occurred was that, you know, he got to our area, and then he spoke to a landlord of one of the prime properties in the central part of the zone. So he was given a place, right, a rental place,
Yeah.
and then the man created a restaurant, opened a restaurant called Le Parisien, the Parisian. Mercy, to the standard of world restaurant,
Wow.
the man did amazing. It was one of those places that became a reference.
Wow.
When you pass next to the restaurant, you will say that this is Paris. The theme, everything, it was beautiful.
That was probably the goal.
That was the goal. The goal was, you know what? I want to make something for myself, but I'm going to go
In my people.
in my people. The guy had vision.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm going to do it amongst my people. I'm going to make it. Like, for him, it was like a pride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, you know, it was doing very well for a couple of years. Then, the landlord, owner of the property,
Yeah.
started demanding more rent.
Because he feels like this guy is
Yes.
probably making more money than,
He's making a killing here.
he's paying me.
Yes, so he started demanding more rent. They settled to a certain, amount, but there was still a bit of pressure here and there. But now I want to make you look at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
The guy has worked over a decade in a foreign countries. He saved every little penny. He bought every single thing that he wanted because he wanted to come home and do that.
Make an investment at home.
A lifetime investment. As if that was not enough, I think that his tenure reached an end, his lease, and the landlord refused to renew it.
So he basically has to move the business from where he has built clientele.
Basically, he had to pack up and go. Why? Because the owner of the property was already in talks with an Italian family, all right, that promised to pay double the rent and then put a pizza place over there.
Oh my word.
So this is how an African betrays another African for gain, which he might not even need. Now, I think the man took the matter to court or something. I don't really know how it worked. The Congolese laws are a bit crazy. But in the end, the landlord won.
The case.
So he had to put his things out. Now imagine, he knows no other places. He's built a reputation, he's built a name, he's built a brand, he's
whole
built
clientele.
everything on this place. And then all of a sudden, he has to go. The sad part was that, he remained a little behind trying to see whether the landlord was
Or
going to
change his mind.
And then I think it's OPG, like, the people from the court, the sheriff is sent, it's like the OPG, went to the property, wrecked up everything. Just imagine your lifetime investment pulled out, manhandled, and put in the streets.
This is
In the bloody,
heartbreaking.
I'm telling you, in the bloody streets. It was put in the streets with nowhere else to go, nothing else. And the guy had a heart attack, I think, a few months later on, he died.
The owner of the place?
No, the owner of the property, the business. The Parisian guy, the owner of the business, he died. He died. I don't know.
Probably
I won't
the
say.
stress,
Probably the
the
stress. but
heartache.
just imagine, you.
Because I can really tell you that battling something like that is no child's play.
I'm telling you, and he was already in his 50s. How do you start back?
Where do you even begin?
Where do you begin? Where do you go? What do you do? So the man died, and then, the pizza place was open. And they didn't even last a year. They had to shut down.
Yeah.
And that place is just...
Yep. Sometimes karma, you will say,
Yes.
is a...
a truck full of...
Yes. So
Full of
sometimes when we are, viciously doing the most horrendous things to people, we do forget that
It shall be also.
the world goes around. Whatever that goes around, it still comes back
Yeah.
around. So, yeah.
But for me, the sad thing, and what I note from there was that, you don't need enemies when you are in Africa because people around you, whoever looks at
Trust
you
me.
is your
Trust
straight
me.
up enemy. And how do you encourage people to invest back in the continent
When this is
they have to deal
happening,
with this? A continent where it's either you're not from my tribe,
yeah.
or you're making money and I don't like that, or I need shares in your business,
Yeah.
or you need to just pack up and go. But I mean, we don't have that. We don't have those values to see others grow. I'm sorry to say. And the man from the town there,
Yeah.
with his his million city investment, has just been a victim of what all of us have been a victim of. Victim of your own success.
Exactly.
And people around you feel entitled to it. And
And trust you me, the moment he leaves, I'm sure someone,
Oh, yes.
if not the chieftaincy,
I know.
someone will try to build exactly what he has done,
Yes.
but it will not last. He has actually been able to stay for over 5 years. How is this going to? And what about the Ministry of Agriculture? What are they doing about this?
Well, what you're saying, you're talking about leadership in Africa when you're asking about Ministry of Agriculture. They are incompetent and they are not interested in helping,
Yeah.
people. Like they are not. What they are more interested in is, looting or something like that. But I don't know. I hope justice can be done for him because it will be a disaster to have like all these years that you've worked for your life and just being thrown away.
Yeah.
Because the Queen Mother or Queen Chief, or I don't know, who is she again?
And
What is she like?
I'm actually thinking that when he came there, the place was probably a bush, a forest,
yes.
and he probably cleared the whole place, made an investment, to sustain his business. Unfortunately, he had to leave. What does he do about this? Like, do you just pack up and leave?
Well, the point is,
Or
first
do you claim damages
No, the thing from where?
from the community?
No, here's the thing. The
Yeah.
thing is also, I think it should serve as a lesson for us, or
Other investors,
other
yeah.
investors, that also what you have to do, if possible, you've got to own the property or the land or whatever.
I mean, even
That
things
is-
that
I
you
know.
own, you can take it from
I mean,
me. It's not like I was
know,
renting the
I
place
know,
for my
it's-
business.
you
I
own it.
own the property.
Yes. So there's no guarantee. But at least already, in his case, because in your case,
Yeah.
they cannot just tell you to pick up and leave. But
Yeah.
in his case, the land is not yours. So you've just erected structures on somebody else's land, preying on his goodwill.
But I'm sure he bought the land.
That's,
Are they going to pay him for
Oh,
the
he
land?
bought the land.
I don't know, but I don't think he could just come there and
I think
You know.
maybe him having been a member of the community,
yeah.
and having seen the land there, it was maybe like, okay, can I use this land? And they said yes, because they don't see potential in what you do.
Yeah.
Until
Until they saw them there.
Yeah, until they see the result, and they're like, okay.
Yeah. We can do it better. You have to
Yeah.
pack up and leave.
Yeah.
But this is
You will see when he leaves that place, they will have their goats there, or they will have whatever things going, but they will, and it will probably fail because
yeah. And someone will say country of dream killers, but I don't think it's just in Ghana, and it's not only an African thing. People love you when they know that you are not doing better than them.
yes.
The moment they see that you are doing better than them, that's when they start to hate you, which happened in my case.
Yes, because yours was just from
I told you these people were like close friends, people that I had actually called them friends. I don't normally call people friends unless, thy kingdom come, but I have called these people my friends.
And then there they are.
And yes, that is
So, but that also goes to show you that you never really know
anyone.
people,
You
yeah, you never
don't.
really know.
You don't.
But it's quite disheartening that it's gotten to that,
Yeah.
And you say country of what? Dream
Dream
killer.
killers.
I will say continent of dream killers. And somebody I know, Camilat, said something interesting once because she's very entrepreneurial. She said they will kill your dream
Yeah.
and they will call you useless.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that is it. So, they want to break you in pieces. And when you are broken, they say, you see.
With that being said, it reminds me of what someone said about people living in the diaspora. Your family will call you demanding money for almost everything. You will be able to give them. The day that they call you and you said you don't have, or you come back home with nothing, you become
A burden.
an outcast.
An outcast.
Exactly.
You become like, what are you?
Yes, let me Rebecca say okoye no eden no di bae, meaning when he or she went abroad, what did they come back with? Nothing. But you find out that those same people were the ones that were in your DMs, your WhatsApp, asking you for help, left, right, and center.
Yeah. And for me, I think also, people like that, you don't really even need to help. Because,
Yeah.
But
you wouldn't know until like you are at your lowest and you've come back home with nothing, and then they will be, talking about you, gossiping about you. Oh, look at her, she traveled. Look at him, he traveled and came back with nothing.
Yeah, so there is that expectation that you going there and you're going there to better our lives, not your life.
Yeah.
To better our lives. So you are going there so that we can be okay.
Yeah.
But that is a very weird misconception and misunderstanding of life, because you're struggling alone wherever you go.
Yeah.
So why do they feel entitled to anything that comes out of you? And besides, also some people have gone, especially in the diaspora, and they've also done things and then they've tried to come back home and they've not had it easy. And for me, this is where it's gonna be very controversial to say. I know a lot of people don't understand it, but sometimes also when you are in the diaspora, just stay there.
But you
it's
can't.
less stress,
but home is home.
I know.
Home is home.
But
no matter where you go, no matter how far you go, home is home.
Where the heart is.
Exactly. And I feel the same way as, wherever I go, Ghana is my home, proud Ghanaian, and I'll forever, be a Ghanaian.
Really?
I'm telling you.
Let's say, for instance, life smiled at you in Zambia, for instance, and in Zambia is nice to you, and it's like you feel like, oh, you know what, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Trust me, it will only be a place to visit. But Ghana,
is home.
No matter what happens in Ghana, no matter how devious anyone can be, Ghana is home. I love Ghana. I love Ghana.
No, I know what you're saying there. Also, that sometimes where you come from, you carry something in your heart that cannot be taken away from you. But for me, it's just that if you cannot evolve in that place, or if you cannot succeed in that place, then what is the point?
And sometimes I do say that we have to sometimes travel, gain knowledge, and come back with it to develop the country. But here is the case, with this business
right
issue.
In his home.
Exactly.
Right in his home. He was done dirty right in the place where he grew
up. He called home.
And the people that are doing it to him are the same people that saw him being born.
Apparently, they said the place doesn't like goats. But he's been there for 5 years.
After 5 years.
No, did they just suddenly realize that we don't like goats?
That's weird.
Yeah. No, we don't want goats in this community.
That's very weird.
Yeah. I was told we don't want businesses in this community, but there are other businesses in that community. So if I say this is, pure jealousy and pure...
It is. It could be. It is something like that. You experience hate unnecessarily.
I'm telling you.
And sometimes it makes you wonder, like,
what is it about me?
Yeah.
Because even during COVID, whilst the business was still running, I've had a couple of the community members have come to utilize our service, and what they will ask me is, it's people are closing business left, right, and center. How come you are still open?
Mm.
So it's
That was
something that
probably
they didn't
already,
understand.
yeah.
They
It
didn't
was probably
understand.
already like, what is she doing different
Exactly.
than us, Yeah.
How are you still
Yeah,
open
yeah,
when there are so many businesses
Oh,
similar
that are
to
closing
yours
down, yeah.
that are closing down?
Mm.
But sometimes we are scared and afraid of things that we do not understand.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
you just have to stand your ground and sometimes push on no matter what happens.
Mm.
So even if I decide to discontinue the business just for my own sanity, it's not gonna stop there. It's gonna happen somewhere else.
It is, yeah.
It's gonna happen somewhere else. And the fact that you want me to close down, if I close down, that doesn't mean that money is coming to your pocket.
That's it. That's one thing some folks do not understand.
They don't understand.
Just because you do not want somebody to be successful,
No.
as in the case with the guy in the States,
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think if I wasn't here,
Yeah.
you would be able to be here?
It's just impossible.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's impossible.
it is impossible. So, but again, I think we need to preach onto our brothers that you have to be first content with what you have. Don't always.
I mean, that's why we're here. It's not just about discussing the negatives. How do we educate our brothers and sisters to say that when someone is succeeding, that doesn't mean that you are failing. If God is closer to someone's door, know that He's in the community. And He is reachable.
Yeah.
Why don't you be happy for that person?
I think what we also don't understand, or we should start doing, is how you build a business.
Yeah.
This is how it is. All right. Let's say I was telling that to a friend of mine, who was telling me about. I think that time the Bolt, it was Taxify and Uber and stuff, just came to be. And then you find one person. He was telling me about the person. The person bought 10 cars.
Okay.
Bought 10 cars and then just put them right through in the Uber. Right? So he was doing very well for a couple of years, but he was paying the cars on installment, obviously. And then the pandemic struck. Like, I think there was lockdown. Everybody had to be indoors and stuff like that. So Mr. 10 cars with 10 drivers find himself with no source of income and 10 cars to pay for.
How is he going to make these payments?
Now, the banks do not care whether,
Of course.
They don't care. He ended up losing all the 10 cars.
You might be able to ask for a reduction in your installments for some time, but not forever.
Forever, yeah. But from what I heard from the friend, he lost all the 10 cars.
Wow.
And then he found himself,
They probably were repossessed.
Yes, obviously, lost as in repossessed. That's what I mean. So now, I told him, I said, you know what killed this man? It's not pandemic.
Yeah.
It's greed.
How so?
Bolt is a business, where everybody's trying to make something.
Yeah.
Right? And then you come with 10 cars and then you inject them in the system. So that means already 9 people somewhere. Okay, it doesn't really work like that, but you get what I'm saying. You are shadowing. It's like the laws of demand and supply. So when you have more supply, so the demand kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So you have 10 cars. So somebody else who's got one car cannot really compete with you. Whether you like it or not, you will have bread and butter, but not necessarily them. So I say that's a wrong way of doing business.
Could it be the type of business as well?
Yes, it could, but the point is just that already greed killed him. Why? Because this is how you do business. If you have a car, and then somebody else has a car, somebody else has a car, somebody else has a car. Let's say they all have 10 cars all together. Now, I don't want to take business from you by having my car compete with yours. What you have to do is you have to use your mind and say, okay, fine. How do I help this service stand? I was speaking to my friend and I told him, look, what you can do is you can open a car wash and say, for all the Bolt or Taxify cars, you have 30% off.
For the car wash.
Did you get what I'm saying? So now you...
While still running his 10 car.
No.
business.
You just need to have one.
Okay.
Basically, look at how Europeans do
But you know
business.
there's
They
this
do business.
franchise business as well. Would you also say that it's also great? Because
No, it
they do
isn't.
succeed.
They do succeed, but this is not a franchise. This is more like a one-stop shop for everything. You can never really do that. When you
Yeah.
go to big brands, I've gone to a shoe store. I like a pair of shoes.
Okay,
You
you're
know?
Congolese,
Yeah.
as you've told me already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. I'm normal. I'm normal here.
Yeah.
But now, you know what? Well, you know what these guys do in this shop? They sell shoes. Only shoes. That's their specialty. They specialize in shoes. You want to buy socks? There is
Another shop out there.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's how you run business. I'm
So
coming
that
back.
everybody can eat, basically.
That's it.
Okay.
Coming back to what you were saying, about your business, because somebody else will open the same kind of business as you, but they will not be successful. But what you can do now is, how do I make sure that I add value to her business and it makes some money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could be that, okay, fine, let me run a shuttle car,
Yeah.
a shuttle company, that whoever wants to come here or they need to be dropped somewhere, they can use my service.
Yeah. But don't you think he has also created employment for these 10 drivers? These 10 drivers.
Well, it has, but what happened later on? They all lost employment, isn't it?
Yeah, due to the COVID.
Due to the COVID, but I will definitely say it's also great, because let's just say business was not doing well. Leave COVID besides.
Out
What
of
were you
there.
going to do?
Okay.
See, you just have to be complementary to each other. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, as African, if you're doing something, I don't necessarily have to do that.
The same
I
thing.
can be complementary
Yeah.
to you. Like, for instance, the man from the farm in the town there,
Yeah.
he's already doing goats and he's successful. So what the community or the community leader or the chief or king or majesty or emperor or whatever should say is, oh, okay, we have goats here.
Yeah.
How can we empower other people in the community? Maybe you should go into farming neat food, farming plantains. You know what I'm saying? Plantains. And then, we can have plantain, then we can have leaves for goats.
There could be collaboration for
That's
him
what I'm
to
saying.
even
That's what I'm
educate the
saying.
youth.
Educate the youth.
But then when he moved this farm from there, what is left of the community now?
Despair.
Wow.
And I heard that all the goats from the community were killed before his. From what I heard in the video was that before getting to him, they had to kill all the other goats in the community to say that they did not want
Just to justify their
coming after
claim
him.
on,
Yes.
on him not
I
having
think
to
so.
be there.
I think so. Having watched the footage, that's what I understood. So it's like they want to touch you, but they want to find a reason.
So they will destroy this. If they don't have a goat, then you are not supposed to have a
You're
goat
not supposed to
too.
have the goats too, so it has to go. I think that's the plan.
So that means, okay, so will they mutilate themselves just to be able to kill someone,
Yes, I think that's what they did.
to justify
Yes, I
their
think,
actions?
I think that's accurately what they did,
Wow.
and that goes to show you how wicked,
People can be.
yeah. And this is somebody who's done you no harm.
Yeah. How do we grow as Africans, and how do we develop the continent that we've been crying so hard, like fighting so hard to develop to bring our brothers and sisters back home if this is what we're doing.
I think we have our mind is in the wrong place. Our mentality as well. We have
How
a
do we
very
change
bad
that?
mentality.
How do we change that?
Well,
It won't be today,
Mm,
not
Well,
tomorrow.
it can start today, but the problem is, you have to realize that you have a problem first before you start solving it, And 99% of these folks don't even
I don't think they
they have a
realize
problem.
what they're doing.
Mm.
Because someone has done something so bad to you, like what happened to my business, and these people expect you to. I'm not about holding grudges, right? I'm not about
It's
holding
unnecessary
grudges.
anyway.
It is unnecessary, but these people will see you and they expect you to, have the same relationship that you had before all this happened. And to me, that is crazy.
It is because you want me. I'm going high up,
Yes.
and you want to bring me down,
Pull me down.
so that when I'm down with you, so we can be friends
So
again.
we can be friends. But we are
That's
already
very-
friends.
Yes.
Even with
No. They feel
know-
like if you're doing well, you are no longer the friends, and you might just.
But it doesn't work like that.
I
If
know,
I am
but-
busy working, it is work.
But it's poor mentality. The poor mindset is what makes people to think that sense.
Yeah.
Because when somebody does not have a poor mindset, has an abundant mind,
Yeah.
they don't really.
I'll forgive you for whatever you do. But there are some things that the way you even manipulate situations, like you scheme to make sure that I lose, my finances and what means a lot to me, and you expect me to
And not
know-
forgetting the amount of stress that they put
exactly,
on you as well.
exactly, psychologically,
Yes,
emotionally, that is so
those
draining.
things, yes, it does. It does.
Because we had to involve the police, and it's almost like they never even helped.
I heard they broke the doors or something.
The gates, yes,
They broke the
they
gates.
wanted to destroy my property.
My goodness.
Yes, they wanted to destroy the property, and to
So
a
causing
point.
malicious damage to your property because they don't want you to
And
have
the
a
police was
business
here when that happened, and they did nothing about it. I tried to open a case and almost threatened me that what if they also say that you did something to them. That was what the cop, the captain
yeah.
of the commander told me. Yes, if you open a case, what if they also said you did something to them? How are you going to defend yourself? Then I'll have to arrest you too.
So basically, it was just.
It felt
trying
like
to
I was
tell you-
watching a Nigerian movie.
I
Yeah,
love Nigerian movies
I-
sometimes. It's
I do,
the
I
twist
do.
in those movies sometimes.
it's
you're
like I was
what
watching
the
a
heck?
Nigerian movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is happening here?
Yeah. And
You know.
the funny thing is, these are people doing it to your face.
Yeah.
They're really coming to your face
Yeah.
and they say, "We are doing this." To
Oh,
you."
initially they hid it.
No, I mean,
They hid it so
obviously,
well.
it's in the start
Yeah.
you don't know, but they will show themselves up. Just like
Finally
the case of
they
the
did.
men, the goat men, they will show themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure
In
they
time.
started planning, this thing for a while.
They
That's
did.
what you're talking about, them having to kill their own goats just to justify their actions.
Yeah. So that's but for me it's quite sad because where do we go from there?
Nowhere, basically.
Yeah.
No way. If this is how we as, Africans, we're going to treat our brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
then we will keep being on the same level.
But that's
No one
why
is
we
going to-
are there. That's why,
Yeah.
as a continent, things are always, near grassroots. It's because of that mindset.
Yeah,
And people think that when they see you doing something, they can do it better.
yeah.
So, but for them to do it better, they have to kill yours 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to compete. They want
Yeah.
you out, but they claim that they can do what you're doing better.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is nonsense.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't really make sense, but well, what I can say now is just strength to you first, for
Yeah.
recovering from such an ordeal.
Yeah, yeah.
You did not have a heart attack, and you're
Yeah.
still alive, smiling, which is good.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It wasn't an easy thing to
I know
go
it
through.
wasn't.
I think that was one of the worst things I'll say, in business that I have actually experienced as a businesswoman. It hasn't been easy.
I can imagine. It's
Yeah.
not because of your incompetence that you have
Yeah.
to close, but you are too competent, overcompetent,
Yes,
that
but
it threatens people.
it does. that
Make
they,
it make
they
sense.
made threats like, if you don't do as we ask, then we are going to burn your business down, and that would be a loss.
It
Do you
will
get
be,
me?
yeah,
Where a
yeah.
police are not only a group of policemen, but their commander has said that if they burn your business down, I'll watch for them to do that, and I'll investigate afterwards.
Is that what he said?
Exactly what he said. And I
So
have
he will
recordings
let
of
them.
that.
He will let them destroy
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Watch, and then investigate.
Later.
What's there to investigate anyway?
So basically, he wanted us to do as the community wanted. Although we had the documentations in place, he was like, the community is more powerful than the papers that you have.
I thought the police was more powerful than the community and everything.
So
Because they are the
basically,
police,
yes,
you know.
which I suspect, because later I realized that most of the community leaders that were that instigated this were friends with this police and the commanders, and yeah.
You know, I made a video on my channel. I think it will probably maybe come at the same time here, of how frustrating the system in Africa is.
Yes, when you can't get help.
I'm telling you, first, you can't get help. Second, they exploit you.
Exactly.
Third, they expect you to abide. But how do I do all the three things and remain sane? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Because you are the police, you're supposed to protect my rights. But you're telling me that no, the community
has more power than exactly what you said. The community is more powerful than the papers that you have. So rather make peace with it and do as the community demanded. Or if they decide to burn your business down, I will watch and then I'll investigate later.
That's the whole police talking.
Not even just a police. That was the commander talking. And later on, she was questioned about that. She denied it. But we have a record of a recording of.
But it will not even go anywhere. That's the problem. Yeah. Because again, the judicial system will fail you. And it will fail you by design.
I'm telling you.
And it's not just you.
Yeah.
Even the man in Ghana there, it will fail him. Because they will tell him, look, you don't have papers, you don't have rights. They will always find a way.
A loophole.
A loophole. It will fail you. And the same way that it failed the man with the restaurant in the Congo. It will fail you. And then in the end, it wonders, why is the community not evolving?
But it's our own doing.
Exactly. You could have been successful and hire people from the community.
Even if he was going to pass away, I'm sure there will be people that will be capable enough to take over from, whatever they've learned from him.
Yeah.
Because someone will say, okay, what if he was going to pass away anyway?
No, I don't think he was. I still think that it's the stress of that
situation
just
that
you
he
work
found
out your
himself
whole
in.
life.
Yeah.
You work very hard. You save every little penny, deprive yourself from everything. You go and invest.
I think the thought of that alone
and then they
is
put
what
all
killed
your
him.
things out, and then you just can
How
see
to
it.
look at it.
See.
Sometimes things like this are too much to bear.
It is.
They are too much to bear.
They actually are.
Yeah.
So,
I went through a lot, and I can tell you that if I wasn't as strong as or if I'm not as strong as I am right now, I don't know where I will be, with all that happened. Because yes, I was exposed to some violent, situation and people. And
still with
yes,
the situation
regarding
of
the
business.
situation with my business.
Really?
Yeah, they became quite violent to the point that
And these are the same people that were nice to you.
No, these are the same people. These are the same people, and one of them even said, "Do you think we are in Africa?" And I'm like, "Where do you think South Africa is?" South Africa is in Africa.
Yeah, it is in Africa. Yeah.
She meant to think
I
like
understood. I understood.
So even you don't even know like your geography. You
Mm.
don't know,
Mm.
and you saying that you think we are in Africa. Someone was like, "Oh, do you think this is your country that you can come and do whatever you want here?" But I was not
But
doing
it's
whatever I
within the
wanted.
laws.
It's within the law.
Yeah, you know, speaking of that, is I don't know. I will not speak of. Okay, what I'm gonna say is, some people are just close-minded
Yeah.
and they look at the world through the lenses of their community.
Yeah.
But for somebody who has traveled, if you traveled just between two places, your mind has already expanded.
Yeah.
From you know what I'm saying, your mind has already expanded and then you see things differently. I have met people that were born in one place,
Yeah.
in a hospital on the same street
Yeah.
where they lived, and then they went to school on the same street. There's a
Yeah.
school, and then they went, like they did their whole lives
Involved around the
streets.
street that they live on.
I'm telling you. And then the parents owned a small little shop
Around
at
the
the
corner.
corner, like that. And
Yeah.
their
So
perception of the world,
it's
they look-
very tiny.
it's narrow. And sadly enough, that's what you have to deal with sometimes.
Yeah.
When you go to some places, you realize that it's ignorance, but it's also they don't know. They don't even know. Somebody that has never even seen a foreign currency before, so they've only been using the coins and the notes that they have. So they can't understand, and they feel like I've been here my whole life and I've not gone anywhere else. Why do you
How
have
dare
to come
you?
here?
How dare you?
You have to also stay there.
How
But,
dare you?
but it's the closed-mindedness. It is, and I will encourage people to also travel,
Yeah.
even if it's just one time. Like just
Once in a lifetime.
once in a
just
lifetime,
to
just-
see what is out there.
yes, just
For
go
you
somewhere
to
else.
know that what you know, there is much more
There is much more.
out there. There is
Just
much
change environment for like a short period of time.
more. Yeah,
When you come back, you will look at things differently.
absolutely.
Like the landlord who kicked out the Parisian hotel owner,
Yeah.
I'm sure if he had traveled, he'd been there, he'd seen how life is hard.
He would have appreciated what
You know what I'm
was
saying?
built on his property.
Yes, and then the lady also, the man with his goat,
Yeah.
the property, I mean the what? How do you call them? God, kings of the land or something.
Let's say the chief.
The chief. Okay, if the chief could go to communities
Yeah.
where there is barrenness, where there is nothing, where people don't even know what to eat,
Yeah.
and they came back to their community and see what the man was doing, they would be thankful.
Yeah.
They'll be
Yeah.
like, wow, at least we have
Someone
food here.
did this
Someone
in our
did it,
community.
so
they would have
it's-
appreciated.
Yes, they would have, but we're not willing to learn from each other.
Unfortunately, that is us as Africans, and I think what we are left to do right now is to be able to open up the rest of the world, to people through our show and through the things that we do daily, just to at least if they are not able to go out there to see what is going on, they will get some kind of
an inkling of
what is happening out there.
True.
Hopefully that will make an impact on changing the narrative
Oh, definitely.
of Africa.
Definitely.
It's been such a pleasure chatting with you, Esperance, and
Midase.
Darcy.
And Darcy Pa.
I've learned so much. The discussion was quite interesting, and I hope you all got something out of it as much as I have been able to reflect on everything that I have been through last year. So we will be ending here, and you will see us again very soon. Take care of yourself and have a wonderful day.
Goodbye.